So we're just about to remind you where we are in the program. So I picked the cartoon version of the My New Good Life canvas, or the New Good Life canvas. We've been through the now, taking stock. We've taken a look at our vision, our New Good Life vision. And this week we've been working with our crew in the bow of the ship to try and keep our crew on board so that we can move forward towards our New Good Life vision. Okay, so just a quick reminder of the ground rules: confidentiality during the breakout rooms, openness and curiosity. The agenda is very similar to the one you've seen before, which is we're going to look back at week 3 as a brief reminder. For some of you, it'll be more recent work than others. And then we will do an exercise and then plenary review, see how that went. And then we'll look back at week 3 and get some feedback from you very quickly. So we have a poll. And then we very briefly look forward to week 4, which is explore identity. That's where we are. So brief review of where we got to this week. So this week was about exploring our inner protectors. Sometimes people call them saboteurs, sometimes people prefer protectors. So how might your inner protectors or saboteurs be unwittingly holding you back in your goal of achieving your new good life? We introduced one more of the elements. This time it was the element metal. I saw some interesting comments on that from Mary and others. And then there was the, I think, optional experiential exercise, the arriving consciously exercise, which you could do. And then the reflection questions, noticing any resistance, thinking about what is being protected, sensing for negative emotions, and reviewing what would help this part of you feel safer to enable you to move forward. So that was where we got to. Any comments or questions about last week? Relatively straightforward. Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right. So then we're going to go crack straight on into an exercise. So we're going to be exploring your mentors or your protectors. So this exercise provides an opportunity to explore one of your protectors in a little bit more depth. And if you don't want to do it, of course, there's no obligation to do it. It's entirely up to you. And all of these exercises as suggestions, if you can think of something more useful to do in the 20 minutes of the exercise, let me know what it is. And it's definitely not therapy, so work lightly. Choose a protector or pattern that feels safe enough to explore with somebody else. And the aim of this exercise is just to better understand your protector, not to get rid of it. Understand it in terms of what it would need to keep it happy. Okay. So individual reflection, just for a couple of minutes. If you could just, in the next 2 minutes, take a moment to think back over week 3 and notice where you experienced any hesitation, doubt, resistance, any kind of avoidance, judgment, control, pleasing, overthinking, anxiety. Or was there one particular inner voice or pattern that seemed to repeat, that was familiar? And if you were to give it a name, or what would it be? Avoider, controller, perfectionist, pleaser, hyper-rational, whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you into pairs, and I will invite you into okay, don't go into the breakout room yet. I think I may have got overexcited and opened up the breakout rooms. So I'm going to just take you through the exercise. And what Anna's doing is she's putting a copy of these slides into the chat, if you haven't already. So I think Anna has put into the chat
put a link
to a copy of all of these slides so that you have it with you in your breakout rooms. And then if you want to perhaps use it in your coaching sessions. Maybe it was something that you could inspire something for your coaching session. So we've given you a hard copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to go into your breakout rooms in a minute. And then I'm to make sure nobody's gone in. Okay. And then I'm going to invite in your pairs one person to speak for under 3 minutes. So and say things like, if you're up for it, one protector I noticed this week was, so maybe it was my controller protector, hyper-rational. It tends to show up when I don't feel like I'm getting my way. It says something to me, something like, this isn't going the way I want, I have to get control. In my body, I notice it has kind of a tension in the chest, perhaps. I think it might be trying to protect, making sure I get my own way. The role of the other person is simply to listen, not to reassure or fix. So just to listen. So the one person speaks, and then the listener says, listen for positive intention. After the first person has shared, the listener may gently reflect back what they've heard in under 2 minutes, using phrases such as, I wonder if this protector is trying to help you. It sounds as if it may be protecting. I hear that this part might be afraid that. One thing I would appreciate about this protector is, and the original speaker just simply listens and notices what feels true or partly true or not true. And then the speaker then finishes this little exercise by saying, what might this protector need in order to feel safe is, what pace, boundary, reassurance, or support might help it, how I could honor its concerns without letting it, again, no solution needed, just exploring. And then once one person has been through this, then you swap and the second person goes through it. Is that clear? In your groups, discuss what do I notice about the protectors when they're approached with curiosity rather than judgment? Does anything shift? What might be carrying forward from this exercise into the next week? And then bring back to the plenary, one thing we noticed about our protectors was, or one question we're carrying forward is, or something else that you observe or notice. So you're all coaches, maybe you'll come up with something else, and that's even more interesting. Okay. So I'm just going to swap person around. Okay, so any questions about that exercise before I open up the breakout rooms? Now, I see some people are not actually here. I don't like Louise. I'm not sure if Louise is able to do this. So if it turns out that anybody isn't
Sorry,
with
I'm
me,
here.
Louise is there.
Sorry,
okay.
I am here. Sorry, apologies. I didn't realize my video wasn't on. Sorry about that.
No problem. But if you find yourself alone and nobody's in there, I'll come around and sort it out. So Anna's going to sit out and fill in any gaps if there are any. Okay. Was that enough time? No. Okay. I did wonder. Maybe slightly longer, but it was always going to be a bit tight. Yeah, it's a bit of a compromise between trying to keep it short and giving enough time. I'm trying to keep to the 45 minutes. Anybody want to just come back with anything in particular that came out of the conversation? Anything stood out? Any final comments, questions?
Just to share, I think the breakout rooms, no disrespect to the rest of the program, but I think they're the best bit.
Yeah.
There is such a lot of value and connection in there that I really didn't anticipate benefiting from. So thank you.
Pleasure, yeah. And I think the program seems to attract a special sort of group. So yeah, really, the right people arrive and you have good conversations. Thank you. Anything else anybody wants to share? Any questions?
So
in our room, Joanna and I, we both were attached to our saboteurs, obviously. So maybe the word saboteur also, and we said protector then in the exercise also. I think it's part of ourselves, it's aspects of us, and to honor them and yeah, just have to give them the space and place that they deserve. That was the takeaway from me from working with Joanna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and likewise, Anya, for sharing what you shared as well. You know, it shows how valuable our protectors are, and to be aware of them and to use them as a framework nearly to support ourselves, particularly in certain situations and things. Yeah.
I also think, following on what Jeanette was saying about the breakout rooms being the most valuable bit, is Daniela and I kind of spoke from really different angles, but came to the same conclusion about each other, and in a sense renamed our protectors, and the whole thing ended up being something more relational than anything else, not between she and I, but between ourselves and those things that we're trying to protect, and when protectors actually become, as the exercises have mentioned, blockers. So protection becomes something which you never actually realize anything because you're spending all your time protecting it and what that might be. And certainly for myself, the realization was something which, well, it's not realization, I guess I've known it all along, but the beauty of this program is forcing me to think about it. And why I might annoy so many people all the time. Because I have the annoyer as one of my protectors, which isn't on the list, but the annoyer's there. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Thank you. All right, so conscious of the time, I just appreciate a little bit of feedback. So I'm just going to go into feedback for week 3. So I'm going to put up the quiz again. Most of you, yes.
Rob, ask something about the quiz before you bring it up. When we have the question about the clients, I'm not quite sure whether you're asking. I'm not sure if the intention of this is for us to be able to use some of this with our clients, or if it is the intention of the client of would we recommend the clients to do this course?
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess it could even be both. But one of the things we hope to do is, for example, some of the coaches who've been through this program and then next one, Mind You Go Life Plus, are starting to take their own groups of clients through the program using Sutra. So there are multiple ways in which this could be used. You could use, I think we mentioned this at the beginning, we can see this being used as an additional toolbox for your coaching, the one-to-one coaching. And we can also see it being used as a kind of a hybrid coaching training. So you could take, so one of the coaches is taking small groups, 8 to 10 people through the program, through Sutra. So basically doing what I'm doing. And other people are just running a training program. So we could see you being used in different ways. So what is my question? I guess my question is, could you see your client, this working for your clients in terms of, is it the right level, either in terms of they would follow, if you were taking them through it, would this be the right kind of level for them? Is it sufficiently interesting? Is it appropriate level of depth? So I guess that's what I'm trying to get to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the clarification. All right, so these are the questions. And so we're just looking forward to the next week. So week 4 is exploring identity. So this is on the canvas. This is my essence and gifts. So we're trying to help you contact, if you need it, your essence and your gifts. And there's this exercise, which is the River of Life, which I've actually been using in management training programs for years, and it seems to work. We have the next element, which is the tree. And there is a timeline walk experiential exercise. You actually get to stand in different periods of your life and experience them. And then the reflection questions: what's my essence? When am I most myself? How do others experience me? And what are my natural gifts? So that is the week that's coming up, and I'll be opening up the week probably later today.